It's 10 o'clock.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to our new and returning attendees. Thank you for joining today's Spatial Innovision webinar. From the attendee list, I can see that we have attendees from across the region and encourage you to represent your country by posting your flag in the comment box or even the name of your country. Today's topic is land administration, parcel fabric management with GIS, a topic many of you have shown great interest. Our presenters today are Ms. Nicola Simpson-Lake, Senior Geospatial Solutions Specialist at Spatial Innovision, and from Esri, Matthew Woodlief, Solutions Engineer in Land Administration. I am Matthew Webster, Vice President of the Corporate Services Division at Spatial, today's session moderator. Today, our presenters will help you to identify where you are in the land modernization spectrum, the next steps you should approach, and also demystify parcel fabric implementation, addressing common concerns raised by users adapting to the technology, which some of you are. Should you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to use the Q&A feature or the comment box. We'll respond to them accordingly. And with that said, I'll now hand over to Nicola, who will present ahead. Nicola?
Thank you, Matthew. Good morning again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. As mentioned, we will be discussing land administration supported by our partner from Esri. Today, we'll be covering parcel fabric management with GIS. Your interest in this topic is greatly appreciated. So thanks again for being here. So for our agenda this morning, we will first have a look at an overview of land administration. Then we'll look at parcel management solution in ArcGIS at a high level and some of the business drivers. Next, we'll see the software in action when Matt presents a demonstration. Lastly, we'll have a video by Menno showing the implementation of the parcel fabric in Aruba and Bonaire. And then we hope to hear from you and respond to your questions. So if you are new to Spatial's webinar series, first of all, welcome. As introduced earlier, I'm Nicola and I'm the sector lead for land administration here at Spatial. And I'm joined by Matthew Woodlief, solution engineer at Esri. This webinar this morning is done specifically to reach out to cadastral agencies and national mapping agencies in our distributorship. These agencies are responsible for maintaining parcels as well as many other information layers that are identified as fundamental data themes by the United Nations Global Geospatial Information Management. We've been looking at the challenges faced by these authorities in our region as they look to modernize their land information systems. The challenges are significant, but as we said, GIS can help. ArcGIS for land use support 3 fundamental systems. These systems are the systems of records, which deals with land parcel. Next, we have the system of insight that deals with valuation. And finally, the system of engagement that deals with stakeholders and public engagement. GIS efficiently delivers all 3 on a single platform, allowing governments to accurately represent and understand property value, as well as provide secure and authoritative land records and parcel data for widespread government and public use. When it comes to land administration, Esri have organized applications, and tools for parcel management into a set of configurable solution to support the full range of workflows of a cadastral and valuation departments. Looking at this slide, you can see that a wide variety of data types can be both ingested and collected using ArcGIS. This includes mobile phone applications that can work both on and offline and be used to record property boundaries and document property attributes. They can also be paired with an external GPS to attain sub-meter accuracy. It also includes application for planning and processing drone imagery. Excuse me. On the management side, Esri set the industry standard for parcel management and have specific tools for editing parcels, maintaining parcel history, visualizing parcels in 3D, and much more. Analysis comes into play when spatially adjusting parcels, predicting property values, and using artificial intelligence or machine learning to extract boundaries from high resolution imagery. Then, of course, different information products can be published and also delivered as web services to the multiplicity of stakeholders dependent on your data. So this one is a common platform for delivering end-to-end capabilities for the entire parcel data supply chain. And next, we will have a look at the land modernization spectrum that stretches across a different set of capabilities. Land agencies may be at various stages of their land administration modernization spectrum with respect to the format of their land records and the tools used to manage them. Agencies may range from having a paper-based system to the most advanced, which is our Pro Parser fabric. At different stages, key factors such as the connection of land records to the land record documents, how parcel data are collected and added, how parcels are maintained, and how land records are shared or disseminated may differ depending on where you are on this spectrum. So wherever your agency is on the spectrum, there's a direct path to the most modern ArcGIS Pro Parser fabric. ArcGIS Pro Parser fabric provides the best connection to official tenure record, supports the widest variety of data collection and record formats that can be imported. It also provides the best tools to manage land records and products and solutions to share and disseminate information with stakeholders. So, depending on where you are on the spectrum, these challenges will affect you to varying degrees. Challenges such as data, legal framework, processes efficiency, analytical capability, staff, technology, etc. So in our next slide, we'll have a closer look at some of these challenges. Looking at the data category, we know you may have challenges related to quality management or topological integrity where boundaries may not touch or meet where they should. There's also spatial accuracy. You have an issue with custom or multiple formats to contend with, as well as the currency of the data. Now, from a legal framework perspective, it might be difficult to have a single system representing the legal and the physical work, as well as a framework that can support many sources and description of records. For example, the use of meets and bounds or the use of coordinates. Technology for 3D cadastra is vital due to the increase in the development of multi-tenancy high-rise dwelling, and field data sometimes does not fit the legal framework, where there is a mismatch between what is written on the legal document and field data collected. Now, from a process efficiency point of view, you may have inadequate automation of your QA process. You may find that data is being re-entered where you will have data redundancy, or you may have too many tools and format to contend with, which makes the process inefficient. You might not be able to properly monitor work being done, so you will develop progress bottlenecks. And you may also have issues relating to accessing data and distributing data. For example, you might be on an internal network while having external workers requiring access. There are also issues related to the analytical capabilities where you're unable to analyze the accuracy, reliability, activity, and trends in your data. You may have issues with tracking operation key performance indexes or having visualizations that provide deep insights. Also, you have decision support tools that are inadequate, or you may not have decision support tools. Of course, stakeholders' engagement needs to meet modern expectation. In terms of information data, this should be current, accurate, and reliable, easy to consume, and in these modern times, it should be smart. Now, staff sometimes have long learning curves, and your system might not enforce best practices, or it might not adequately track user identity for proper auditability. Also, based on the type of technology being used, you may have difficulty with maintenance and interoperability with other systems in your enterprise. Now, the answer to your modernization issues is parser management, and this is accessed through the use of Parser Fabric. Parser Fabric can be accessed from your ArcGIS desktop or enterprise system to edit, manage, and for 3D visualization of your data, among others. Now, before we move on to Parser Fabric, let us have a look at the land administration solution workflows. Esri's land administration suite covers many areas and supports you in the entire process of collecting, managing, analyzing, and ultimately sharing with the public. So one way to think about today's webinar is that we have now collected our parser data in the field, and we're ready to manage data day to day. Let's start at the beginning. What exactly is Parser Fabric? It is a system of record. Instead of managing parcels as you would any other lines or polygons, it is a specialized data set intentionally built for managing parcels. It gives you multiple ways to improve the quality of your data using record-driven and quality-driven workflows. The data model shown in this graphic gives you powerful tools and specifies that a parcel is a polygon, but it is also a sequence of lines and corner points. The Parser Fabric provides a comprehensive framework for managing, editing, and sharing parcel data in both a multi-user and single-user environment. In a multi-user environment, the Parser Fabric can be edited and maintained using a service-based architecture. A service-based architecture allows you to share the Parser Fabric across all platforms, such as your desktop, mobile, web, and different workflows can be enabled on different clients in the field and in the office. Now, as mentioned before, Parser Fabric works across the entire Esri software system, so users can access it in desktop software, mobile devices, and web applications. And we'll look at the benefits of this fact over the next few slides. Why have geospatial authorities around the world adopted the Parser fabric? You all face similar challenges, so let's review what are those benefits to your businesses. The first driver is that it is easy to use and get started with. You can migrate your existing data and clean it up later. It is easy to learn as it uses the same editing tools in ArcGIS Pro as for all other editing. It comes with common tasks built in, and our training staff at Spatial and Esri have many standard classes they offer on this with many options. So there are many ways to get started with it. Driver 2, Fabric gives you lots of tools to improve the quality of your data. You have 3 different ways to check for errors. You can configure the rules and determine for your organization what is the standard of a bad parcel. And you can visualize the errors, and then you can work on these errors at your own pace. Driver 3 is that it is fast. That is something we all can appreciate. It performs at a high level, even if your organization has many editors working on the data at the same time. It uses something called branch versioning, and that's when you're connected to a feature service. And this will be discussed in the next slide. And that also tracks each editor and archives all data. And the database can scale to large deployments with the likes of SQL and Oracle. Driver 4, Parcel Fabric deploys using service-oriented architecture. Connecting to a feature service simply means that instead of directly connecting to the database, you're connecting to a URL. So for those of us who stream on Spotify or even Yahoo Music, this is the same method. So what this means, practically speaking, is that the parser data is available to everyone, anytime, on any device, and edit anywhere. So you can edit from the Pro desktop software, but also the web application. Driver 5 is automation. Every organization have editors that perform certain tasks that are repetitive and step-by-step. Parcel Fabric gives you configurable tasks so you can set up all the steps and the users get the right tool when they need it. Less mouse clicks, you save time, and you can track the time you're spending on it. We also offer an API that enables you to eliminate manual interaction, as well as bring the fabric into other clients like web apps and mobile devices. Driver 6, using the REST API, you can integrate the Parser fabric into other systems you may have, like registry or comma or billing, addressing, planning, permitting, among others. Driver 7 is lineage. This one is very popular. The fabric keeps a complete record of all changes and makes the parcels defendable, which means there is a documentation on what records created and retired for each feature. Every recordation transaction results in a feature change, and you can visualize the lineage so you can see a new parcel, but also see 2 parcels joined to make it. So this gives you a before and after picture. Next, we have driver 8, and this is 3D. Simply put, the Parcel fabric is 3D enabled. So at any point, if you have parcels that have heights or any way to show them in 3D, the fabric can help you visualize that. And finally, we have digital submission. And the idea behind this is that when there is a change that is being made, there's a survey plan generated by the surveyor on the property. They can submit that change to you, the cadastral agency, in digital submission methodology. So you can have a group of defined submitters, which would be the surveyors working in your country. They can be registered so you know who they are when they submit a survey plan for a property change. It gives them the ability to submit in digital form through some form of portal where they can upload their plan that can be checked against your fabric. So instead of giving a paper plan that has to be scanned, and there are no ready-made way to have that in a CAD, vector, or GIS file that you can compare against your existing Parser fabric. So this bridges those two worlds and make this process a lot easier. So back office work is reduced. So looking at your key performance indicators, you can review how long your process would normally take and how much it has been reduced by with this implementation. So now that you know the benefits of Parser Fabric, I will now hand it over to Matt for a demonstration.
Thank you, Nicola.
You're welcome.
Matthew, could I have my screen sharing enabled, please?
Working on it. All right, Matt, you can try again.
Okay, looks like we're good here. Okay, so you should all be seeing my screen. And again, thank you, Nicola, for that great introduction. Now, I just want to start with a statement here. The modern cadastral agency, as we saw, is dependent upon to be responsible for managing information about the ownership, value, and the use of the land. And embracing technology such as GIS can help you achieve this goal for your agency and land administration system. And that's why I'm excited to show you how ArcGIS Pro and the Parcel Fabric can and should be part of your land administration system. ArcGIS Pro and the Parcel Fabric provide the environment and tools you need to manage cadastral databases, as well as tools for refining and improving the quality of the data over time. But let's start with an overview of what the Parcel Fabric is by using some parcels from Rotterdam, Europe's busiest port city. Before we get started, I want to introduce a few concepts. First is the concept of a record. The record is the container for your parcels. It is a one-to-many relationship in that many parcels can be part of a single record. In this case, my ID is following a letter and number format, but this is not required. It can be all text, it can be all numbers, or any combination. Secondly, I'm using the word parcels here. So parcels can be named anything you like. They can be called tax units, spatial units, etc. But inside the Parcel Fabric, you have the specialized Parcel Fabric data set, and you see all of my information here. So when you create a Parcel Fabric, all of this is automatically created by those tools. So essentially, you can use your own data model, and the Parcel Fabric will adopt your nomenclature. So now that the terms are clearer, let's see this in action. So a typical workflow for a map technician would be to take these two parcels and merge them together. I want you to notice that I have a new ribbon called Parcels. ArcGIS Pro recognizes that there's a Parcel Fabric in my map and provides all the tools I need to work with parcels in these two tabs. We divided these tools into two types of workflows, record and quality driven. In the record-driven tab, you'll see all of my tools to edit parcels right here in my gallery. So I'm going to merge these two parcels together. So simply, I will select the merge tool. Now, this merge tool is the exact same tool that you would use to edit and merge any other polygons. But when paired with the parcel fabric, it gets some additional capabilities. I'll simply hit the merge button. Right, so I recognize that that was a really simple exercise of merging two parcels together. Very simple, but what is happening is, what's exciting is behind the scenes here, the parcel fabric. In that merge activity, the parcel fabric keeps track of all those recorded transactions. So I know which two parcels were involved in this transaction. And I now know the recalculated area that all fits within what I did as part of my nomenclature and schema of my parcel fabric. Okay. So again, a very simple solution. And so if you have concerns about, you may have used a lot of the ArcMap parcel fabric before. And if you have concerns about migrating from the ArcMap parcel fabric to the ArcGIS Pro parcel fabric, the fabric that I am working with here was created by using this upgrade ArcMap parcel fabric tool that you can find in ArcGIS Pro. Also, if you are new to GIS or ArcGIS and you don't have the parcel fabric, you can create your own from any polygon layer. So let me now show you how to create your own parcel fabric to get started. I want to introduce the concept of tasks. Tasks are configurable workflows and can act as process control mechanisms to ensure consistency in the results. Included in the installation of ArcGIS Pro, there are tasks that guide you step by step through the process of migrating your data into a parcel fabric. You can migrate existing simple feature classes in just a few easy steps, starting with the Setup the Information Model task. This guides you through the setup of your parcel fabric. In the essence of time, I've already done this. So we're going to start with loading data into the parcel fabric. You start with the geoprocessing tool append. And again, this is the same basic editing tool, but when paired to parcel fabric tasks, it becomes directly integrated into a step-by-step workflow. So let's get our input data sets going. So in a few simple steps here, I just use my input data sets. That will be these blue parcels here. And I'm going to input these directly into my target data set, which is my parcel fabric data set, and hit run. Once this completes, you'll see that I have the option to run it again. So if I have multiple data sets, I can run this multiple times to append that data into my parcel fabric. Or if you are ready to move on, you can go ahead and just skip this step. We should be done running in just a few seconds here. Okay, so next, what we want to do is enable the parcel's topology. Topology, in this case, is in a GIS sense. With these topology rules enabled, you can append parcels anywhere in the process, and the topology rules will keep everything nice and tidy, with no gaps, no slivers, or overlaps. And if those do happen to occur in your data set, there's a very easy way to find them. So let's enable partial topology. And go to the next step. So here, the next step is to create parcel records using record names in an attribute field. Often these record names can be retrieved from a table in another business system, such as the land registry system, by using a join and calculating those record names into a field that you added to your parcels before loading. The next step then would be to finish loading the data to the parcel boundaries. If I wanted to just build part of my data set, I can select one record to run. In this case, I'm going to run over the entire data set. So go ahead and build my parcel fabric. And what this is doing here is creating all of the parcel lines. It's creating all the missing parcel points. It's updating the records shape files and creating a basically turning in whatever I updated into a full parcel fabric. So I'll turn off this polygon layer, and we'll see here that my data has now been integrated into the parcel fabric, complete with lines and polygons. Now, you'll probably notice that one thing is missing, my coordinate geometry measurements or my meets and bounds. So I'm going to select these lines. I'm going to use a tool called Update Kogo. So with my line selected, all I do is hit update, and nearly instantly, every line I selected now has a distance and bearing, and that also includes the true curves. So now that we have a fresh parcel fabric in ArcGIS Pro, it's ready to be edited. So let's go to the editing tab. So the typical editing workflow, it begins with legal documentation. For example, this parcel has been sold, or a part of this parcel has been sold, and we need to create new boundary lines. So I'm going to create a record here. Let's create a new record. And this record type will be a split. And we'll say it's happening right now. Okay. So that we have that set up, I am going to split this parcel apart. But because I am working my record, I want to show only the active record, which is none of them right now. Hold on just 1 second. Copy these lines to the active record and preserve the attribution. So you see here, I do have a seed, and we'll discuss that in a second. But let's start the new boundary from this corner. So I'm going to use simply the same editing tools we would, called create features, and create a new parcel line. So I can snap here. All my snapping is the same as you were with regular ArcGIS Pro. But one of the interesting things about this is we can use some keyboard shortcuts. So as I read my document, it says that the line comes parallel to this line. So I can press the P key on my keyboard and click this line. And so now my line is going to be constrained as parallel to this other line. Now, so I can then hit the tab key on the screen to accept the distance. And I'll set it as 25. Hit the tab key to accept the bearing and hit enter. Then I can continue my boundary by connecting the boundary line to this edge. So using the tab enter keys as noted, we'll store those coordinate geometry attributes on the lines. So the new lines will have labels like the other text lines shown at the right. So this is another example of the basic editing tools getting more powerful when paired with the Parcel fabric. So let's create some new seeds here. So now notice that I have two parcels that I can create seeds from. And I will build just the active. You see here, I have this parcel split. It is preserved historically. So all of this actions that I've completed on this parcel are preserved in the database. So the next thing I want to talk about is a multi-user environment. So we've seen editing in a single user environment and how Parcel Fabric supports web-based services-driven workflows. But let's scale up now to a multi-user enterprise for a large city. We are still in Rotterdam here. And we can see that if we list by the data source, we can see here that I am connected to my enterprise geodatabase. And this is all running services on the back end. And ArcGIS Pro and the Parcel Fabric supports branch versioning. For this size of city, it does make sense to divide the work and compile it at the end of the day. So I'm working in my version, and Pro has a contextual tab, again, to work with versioning. So if I click Manage Versions here, you see that I am working in my particular version. All right, so let's say I had received a legal document instructing me to split this parcel into 6 equal parts. So let's create a new record. It'll be record type of a split. And we'll say that again, it happens today. So I will simply select my parcels. Copy the lines too. So exactly the same workflow as the single user environment. And now I have a brand new record to work with this parcel. So I'm going to use the divide tool. And when paired with the Parcel Fabric, the divide tool comes with additional capabilities that allow us that prevents these small little segments. And this feature is activated by turning on the distribute the remaining length section, which is the default. So I'm going to do a distance here, equal distances. And here's the distribute remaining length equally. My distance will be 17 meters, and I want that to repeat 6 times. try selecting my lines again. There we go. And now I'll do the same thing with this other side. And then create some parcel lines. Check my snapping here. Sure, we are on edge. There we go. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and create the new seeds. And we'll see that we have seeds across the new polygon and build the active record. You can see that we have a new split on here. And as we know, parcels need to have a unique ID. And so there's a tool called sequential numbering that actually makes that pretty easy. So we will have a number format. We'll say, let's just start with 1 for now and increment with 1 as well and run it through these parcels here. And now we can see that these parcels have been renumbered using that simple tool. So there's 2 more workflows that I want to discuss, but actually the last thing I do want to show you in the interest of time is something called least squares adjustment. So we've talked a lot about the record-driven workflows, but now let's talk about those quality-driven workflows. So inside my parcel fabric, I'm getting information here. Get out of my way. There we go. Okay. So we've talked a lot about the record-driven workflows, but what about these quality-driven ones? We know that maintaining an accurate land administration system is one of the main responsibilities of a cadastral agency. The parcel fabric is set up to improve the accuracy of your cadastre over time. And one of the most common methods to maintain accuracy is least squares adjustment. And the industry standard DynaAdjust algorithm is built into our tools. So we have an active record here. And I will select all the features in my record. And we can run something called a consistency check. Now, the consistency check allows us to analyze the accuracy of our data without the need for control points. It's going to check that the measurements are consistent with the selected lines by comparing the bearing and distance of those given lines with their geometry in the system. Now, this can take a few moments to run, so I've already run it. So I want to show you just what the analysis results look like. So turning on our analysis results and clearing our selection, we can see that we have a bunch of symbology here. And we see that the adjustment lines, the adjustment vectors come in different colors and sizes. These sizes and colors are dependent on how large the error is. So red being a larger error than a yellow. And it will also show us which direction the line and point is going to move should we accept this consistency check? We can also see what the adjustment points are going to be and how much is going to be adjusted. So I gave you a tour of ArcGIS Pro and the Parcel fabric by demonstrating how it supports your common workflows. The main takeaway here is that while you do your work behind the scenes, the Parcel fabric is going to preserve the historical records of land size and ownership to ensure that you are delivering your authoritative content and giving you the tools to maintain good governance over your country's land administration system. So thank you very much. And I am going to pass this on to my friend Menno Turbals.
Matt, we're not seeing the video.
Oh, okay. I was under the impression that you were going to show the video. So
Oh.
give me one moment.
Thank you. Matthew, the sound is not coming across.
Okay, let me see if I can share the system audio.
Okay.
Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining this presentation on parcel management modernization in Aruba.
Are you able to hear the audio
My
now?
name is Menno Turbals,
Yes.
and
Thank
I
you.
work as a GIS consultant at GIS4C, which is the Esri distributor for the Dutch Caribbean islands. In my role as a consultant, I have been working directly with our client on Aruba on the Parcel Fabric solution. In this presentation, I will share with you why Cadastra Aruba chose the ArcGIS Parcel Fabric solution, how it was implemented, and what the benefits are of using Parcel Fabric. First, GIS4C, which stands for GIS for the Caribbean, operates in the Dutch Caribbean islands. As you can see in the map, Aruba, Curaçao, and Bonaire are the islands located off the coast of Venezuela. And in the northeastern part of the Caribbean, there are the islands of Saba, Sint Eustatius, and Sint Maarten. This presentation is on Aruba, which is a country in the Kingdom of the Netherlands. You may know it as a popular tourist destination. You can see in the photo here, the hotel strip and the white sandy beaches. This may look familiar to you. To give you an idea of its scale, Aruba has approximately 111,000 inhabitants, and the island covers an area of 180 square kilometers, or 44,000 acres. The organization responsible for land administration in Aruba is DLV, or better known as Cadastra Aruba. And one of the tasks of this land registry and mapping organization is to provide up-to-date access to parcel information to its clients on the approximately 55,000 parcels that they manage. As part of their parcel management efforts, Cadastra Aruba has been using ArcGIS since 2017. Now, why did Cadastra Aruba decide to implement Parcel Fabric? There are a number of objectives that Cadastra was looking for. First, Cadastra was looking for a comprehensive parcel management system which can be accessed organization-wide. This means easy access to a system from front desk employees up to the management team and everything in between. Second, this system needs to provide access to up-to-date parcel information throughout the whole system deployment. The third objective was to have a system that provides efficient parcel editing workflows. For example, being able to directly import CAD lines to build parcels from. And another objective was to have a system that facilitates easy sharing of parcel information, meaning sharing across platforms and having parcel information available anywhere, anytime, and on any device. Also, being able to share parcel information with other organizations was considered a great asset. Sorry. So the Parcel Fabric, the services-based architecture of Parcel Fabric and also the editing capabilities in ArcGIS Pro really support these objectives. So in 2019, the choice was made to implement Parcel Fabric. How was the actual implementation done? For this, several steps were taken. First of all, the parcel data needed to be prepared. Because Cadastra Aruba had all of its parcel data stored as CAD drawings, we needed to convert the CAD data to GIS data. For this, we used a couple of geoprocessing models that converted the CAD lines to GIS parcel polygons, and the models converted the CAD annotation to GIS attributes. After running the models, the quality and the completeness of the conversion were checked by Cadastra, and if necessary, adjustments were made in the CAD drawings. The adjusted CAD data was then processed again in the geoprocessing model, and ultimately this led to a full conversion of the CAD data into good quality GIS data. And besides this, it improved the data quality in the CAD drawings by making the adjustments that were necessary in CAD. The second step was to create the parcel fabric and load the parcel polygon data in it. By using the parcel tools in ArcGIS Pro, the parcel fabric was created and then customized by creating the parcel types that Cadastra distinguishes. Also, topological errors that remained were corrected during this phase. The third step was to publish the parcel fabric into the enterprise environment, and making it available as a feature service. And this, of course, opened up a lot of possibilities, such as the sharing of parcel information, creating web apps, and multi-user editing using ranch versioning. Then finally, the cadastre employees needed to be trained in using ArcGIS Pro and also the Parcel Fabric. For this, we provided training sessions using the Esri training materials. And as a final step here, we see that ongoing support is mentioned. And this means, for example, that we assist cadastre Aruba in adding new parcel types or upgrading the Parcel Fabric to a newer version. Just to illustrate the results of this work, I want to show you a couple of slides. Here we see the conversion results, which is a complete conversion to parcel polygons. And as you can see, the parcel numbers are used as labels, and they are stored in the GIS data as attributes. And here we can see the final Parcel Fabric in ArcGIS Pro. And we can see the different parcel types that are distinguished by their symbology. And we can also see the parcel records that are indicated by the blue lines and the blue labels. So what are the advantages of using ArcGIS Parcel Fabric? So what are the advantages for cadastre Aruba in using Parcel Fabric? First of all, Parcel Fabric offers efficient parcel editing workflows, especially the ability to import cut lines directly is very useful and also time-saving for cadastre. Second, having a multi-user editing environment, which is versioned, is also one of the objectives that cadastre was looking for. Also, maintaining historic parcel data is very helpful in comparing historic situations to the new situation. And the fact that the Parcel Fabric is shared and used as a feature service makes it possible that the parcel data is current throughout the platform, but it also offers the functionality needed for the last 3 bullets here, which are availability anytime, anywhere, and on any device. Using the Parcel Fabric in web applications, and also the ease of sharing and collaborating.
So in the interest of time, I'm actually going to skip to Menno's demonstration of their parcel viewing application.
Cool. So this web application is used mainly at the front desk, but also in other departments of the cadastre. And it basically is a web application to find information on parcels. What we see here, we see different parcel types indicated by the different colors, different symbology in the map. So when we look at the legend, we see all the different parcel types that have been used, that are being used by cadastre Aruba. And if we zoom in to the map, zoom a little bit further, we see the labeling pops up, and we see also the parcel area next to the parcel name or number. And we also see the green labels or the green dots here, which are the addresses that are known in Aruba. Now, why is this important? Many times a client that comes to the front desk doesn't know the parcel number. Of course, they do know an address, so the front desk employee can type in an address, for example, Bonaire 31. And if they click on the address, the map locates the parcel, which is related to this address. So here we can see this is the parcel with the number 4A811. Another thing which is useful in this application is that you can use other types of data. So we have seen the addresses, but if you have like imagery, then you can use that to view how the situation is in your imagery and where the parcel boundaries are located. So for the future, it would be also handy if we can see information in the pop-up on the mortgage, for example. Who is the mortgage owner? What is the value of the mortgage, etc. Okay, with that, I would like to give it back to the moderator. Thank you for attending this presentation. And
Okay. So thank you, Menno, again for that demonstration. I'm going to pass it back to Nicola to do the wrap up.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you for your informative demonstration. Just 1 second, please. One second, everyone. We're sharing screen again. All right, sorry about that. So we're going to look at our summary. So there are some common myths or concerns that are discouraging persons from migrating to GIS. Misconceptions such as implementation being too expensive, the data model or the operation workflow are too rigid, getting your data ready prior to migration is seen as an expensive exercise, accessibility is for experts only, and there's a lack of parcel history lineage, as well as lack of linkage to parcel originating record. So in order to address these common myths, I would like to start off first by telling you about Esri's generous grant program for land administration agencies called LAMP, which is Land Administration Modernization Package. This package will provide you with access to a bundle of software. It's extended to all cadastral agencies in eligible countries, so you can leverage ArcGIS platform software to support relevant land administration functions of the surveying and mapping, land registry, land valuation, and state and crown lands and planning departments. So all the software we've discussed today, they are available in this program. So that would take care of the first myth. Now, all these misconceptions have been addressed by Matt and me. As you saw earlier in Matt's demonstration, you can manipulate or edit your data in desktop, which is our single user environment, or in our server deployment, which uses multi-user access or version editing, sorry. And all these deployment can be done on premises or in a private or public cloud storage. Now, as it pertains to rigid operational workflows, again, with tasks demonstrated by Matt, you can configure your workflows based on your jurisdiction or based on your agency's requirements. As for cleanup, this doesn't have to be done prior to migration, as once was required using ArcMap Parser Fabric. Now with your Pro Fabric, you can now import your data and then clean up after. Accessibility to GIS is made easier via a web GIS, whether this is through your ArcGIS online portal or your enterprise portal, which will allow stakeholders to access the Parcel Fabric or information from it from anywhere at any time on any device. So regardless of where you are or whether you're on your island or traveling outside of your island, once access to the web is available, you'll be able to see what's happening with your data within your agency. Again, as we saw during Matt's demonstration, parcel history or lineage is built in, and also because it is record driven and the core part of the Parcel Fabric are in legal records that a parcel is built on, that is also now built in. So now is the time for you to take advantage of this generous package that is available to you to modernize the operations of your respective land agencies. If you're not already enrolled in the LAMP, you can contact us here at Spatial, where we will guide you through the process with the support of our partners at Esri. You can also find more information via the landing page displayed in the right-hand corner of the slide. So when you're ready to delve into migration path to Pro or to deploy your ArcGIS Enterprise enabled web GIS, or when you're ready to learn how to share data with stakeholders, you can engage with us here at Spatial. And as said before, we're supported by our partners at Esri. So there are also key resources available to help you. You can join a discussion community about Parcel Fabric, where you will be able to meet and interact with land administration professionals from Esri. You can also learn more about Parcel Fabric by accessing the Parcel Fabric story map online. And this can provide you with more insights at your own pace as to how the Parcel Fabric can be implemented. And we will provide you with links to these resources via email. When you engage with Spatial, there are some key steps we will take you through. This is taking into consideration that you have enrolled in the program and have access to the software and licenses. We will help you to evaluate the process and your information model in terms of setting up your parcel types and the workflows. We'll help you with different topology, setting up different topology and attribute roles that will go with your schema. We will help you to assemble your data that will then be migrated into your parser fabric. We will help you to set up your file geodatabase based on the data model you would have designed that suits your jurisdiction. And from that, create feature data set, create parser fabric and parser type. When that is done, we will help you to migrate your records, whether they're in shapefile, CAD, etc. And when that is done, we will do the cleanup using the topological tool where you will determine which rules you want to turn on or off. Then you'll want to set up your enterprise to enable your GIS in your organization and populate it. And finally, you can share data with appropriate stakeholders and leverage your modernized land administration. So we have come to the end of our webinar and we'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. On screen, you'll see our contact information. Please feel free to contact us for additional information. And at this time, we'll open the floor for questions, which you can type in the chat available.
Yeah, so what we found, Nicola, is that as the questions were being asked, they were being answered simultaneously. I know Matthew answered quite a bit of questions, and I answered a few myself. So I'm not sure if there are any more questions. You guys can let us know. We'll open the floor for another minute and to see if there are any more questions. And as you can see on the screen, there are the email addresses that you can reach out to: support@spatialvision.com, that's Nicola, and mwoodlief@esri.com to reach out to Matthew if you do have any questions about parcel management at this time. And seeing that there are no more questions, I want to thank everyone for joining us this morning. The recording will be on Spatial Innovision's YouTube channel. We'll send out an email out to all attendees so they can join directly. We have one question here from Mr. Ramon Roach. How do you distinguish in the system between subdivisions that have been applied for but not approved and the current approved state of the parcel fabric? So I'll throw that to you, Nicola or Matt, whoever wants to answer.
So yeah, to answer that question, what I would do is create a attribute inside your parcel fabric, either call it approved or applied for or status even, and have that be the indicator between the two. So you can still copy in that subdivision, but have it marked applied for, and then only show those that have been approved in your, say you have a parcel viewing app, have those only be approved being shown. I suppose the other way you could do it is having have a version for approvals. So only work if it's not approved, it does not get published to the public version, and instead have that be a working version on the back end until it reaches its approval stage.
All right, so we're Ramon said thanks. So it seems he absorbed that information. And as discussed, Raman can always reach out via email should you have any questions to Nicola or yourself if he does have any land administration questions. So again, appreciate the time. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Very, very informative. The demos were great. Repeating again that this is being recorded and will be hosted on Spatial Innovision's YouTube channel, which we'll put up by the end of this week. So you can look out for that there. Also, our next webinar is on the 25th of May, and that will be about the digital twin. So if you're not familiar, you can look it up. There's one in Grenada. You can check it out. Hopeton Ferguson from Spatial will be presenting on that day. So you can look out for that, and communications will also be going out to everyone. Thanks again for joining us, and do enjoy the rest of your day and week. Thank you, everyone.